One of the enhancements which will be implemented into the Trans-Tasman Angus cattle evaluation this year is the introduction of a new EBV for leg angle. So leg angle will now be published on animals which are recorded with Angus Australia from December 2022 onwards. And the new leg angle EBV really provides estimates of genetic differences in animals in rear leg structure when viewed from the side. And it's very similar, if you like, for the old rear leg side view EBV that many people will be familiar with. And in this case, again, similar to our claw set and our foot angle EBVs which are published, the lower EBVs for new leg angle EBV are expected to produce progeny with, on average, a lower score for rear leg side view, which is reflecting those animals which are straighter basically through the hock joint or less sickle hocked. Now, if we look at this graphic here, which just shows the variation which we have in the new leg angle EBV. So here we just have sires with greater than 5 progeny, which have been scored for rear leg side view. And you see the EBV across the bottom. There's quite a lot of variation which we see, genetic variation, which is reflected in this breeding value. So at the lower end, we have animals there kind of with an EBV of kind of plus 0.5. Through to at the higher end, we have EBVs of kind of plus 1.5. So around a 1 score difference in breeding value, and therefore basically a half a score difference on average in what we expect to see in progeny from animals at one end to the other of that EBV percentile band. So those leg angle EBVs, just to delve into the technical nature of those in a little bit more detail, as many of you might expect, those EBVs have been calculated based on the subjective scores which are submitted for rear leg side view. And similar to claw set and foot angle, that includes scores which have been submitted by both accredited technician but also breeder assessed scores. The actual analytical model which we utilise for leg angle is again similar to claw set and foot angle, so it runs a linear model versus a threshold model than what it used to run with our old rear leg side view EBV. It is a single trait model, so that side of it is similar. It does still only include scores of 5 to 9, so similar to claw set and foot angle. It has only got those scores of 5 to 9. That doesn't result in the removal of many scores, so we only have a very low proportion of animals, I think around 4% of animals, which have been scored with a score of 4 or less. But there is research now that's been scheduled to go through and try and look at how those scores of 1 to 4 could be utilised within the analysis. It does also, importantly, this new leg angle EBV also incorporates genomics, and that provides major benefits to the actual prediction accuracy of the EBV. One difference to the claw set and the foot angle EBV of the new leg angle EBV is that we're only running an Angus Australia only analysis. So there are no scores or phenotypes which have been collected on animals in North America. And so this analysis is really only published on EBVs recorded with Angus Australia, and we can't directly compare to any EBVs in North America, which is different to the claw set and the foot angle EBV, where there is a direct comparison. Now, importantly, as part of the establishment of this new EBV, there has been some comprehensive validation done. So there's been some forward validation kind of analyses conducted using the LR method, which is a common method used within the animal genetics kind of space to kind of validate and assess the robustness of different breeding values. And really it just goes through and actually investigates how well the performance of progeny has been predicted by the breeding value. And again, there are 3 different measures of that robustness. We have our prediction accuracy, and you can see here a value of 0.57. So we are seeing that the EBVs are doing a good job of predicting progeny, future progeny performance. There's also a bias value, and ideally we want our bias values close to 0, and as this forward validation has kind of revealed. And there's also a dispersion value, which is giving us an indication of whether the breeding values are over or under predicting the true genetic merit of animals. And ideally we have a value of 1, and you can see here we have, for the new leg angle EBV in the forward validation that's been conducted, a value of 0.94, so very close to 1. So again, the forward validation here that's been conducted on the EBV has shown and validated the new leg angle EBVs, and so they can be used with confidence within Angus breeding programs. Now just to finish up, I suppose there's a few notes to make about how we might utilise leg angle EBVs in selection. So just to reflect, the lower EBVs for leg angle do reflect progeny which are going to have a lower score, so therefore straighter angle, if you like, through the rear legs when viewed from the side. And really, when we're starting to look at what we're trying to achieve, what our breeding objective is in most Angus breeding programs, is that we're not necessarily trying to breed animals where we have a shift in the population, so through either to a higher score or a lower score, but really we're trying to reduce the number of animals which have got a score around that score of 5. So trying to increase, or conversely I suppose, increase the number of animals with a score of 5 or optimal leg structure when viewed from the side. So that then reflects how we need to utilise those EBVs in selection. So a good way to consider this is if we're culling animals in the lowest percentiles, if you like, so say the lowest 25% on the leg angle EBV, that's going to do a good job of enabling us to remove the number of animals which are kind of sickle-hocked from our breeding program. But we conversely need to take some care if we're going to start to select animals at the higher percentile bands, so or the lower EBVs. Make sure we're not shifting that population too far and actually getting ourselves too kind of post-legged or too straight through that hock. So really the message out of this is, I guess in terms of utilising the EBV, is first of all we need to select animals with leg EBVs which are appropriate for our breeding program, appropriate for the genetics of our animals. But in most cases that will involve just culling animals in the lower percentile bands rather than necessarily focusing on selecting those animals in the higher percentile bands. Thank you very much.